It is Saturday, and I have a proposition for you. I hope that you take the time to listen to this and that you chew on what I'm about to say and that you join me in what I'm going to propose. Because I was listening to a podcast today. I signed up for mentorship with Kristen Boss. She has a podcast, which is freaking amazing. And I do all kinds of coaching and stuff with her. And she was talking about how she had to, instead of making a 90-day goal or a 90-day challenge, she decided to change the verbiage of it so that it was a 90-day agreement. Because I don't know about you, but I make these little mini goals all the time. And I say, we're going to have a fresh challenge, right? And sometimes you guys start really strong. Sometimes I start really strong. But before we know it, there's a whole lot of micro quitting, and I'm talking about myself as well. Like in all areas of my life, I start out really strong and I have all these intentions and expectations, and then I negotiate with myself and it starts to feel bad and you start to kind of lose belief, and then you start to doubt yourself, and your inner mean girl creates all this shame, and you go into this place of inaction and complacency and just like totally, well, I'll come around to it next time, right? So she was talking about the word agreement feels different. And I agree. I think that the word agreement feels like a pact I'm making with myself. An agreement feels different than a goal or a challenge or a commitment. An agreement feels binding. So I just counted out the days on the calendar. We are in the final 100 days of the year. We're like, I think there's 96 days today. So we're going to start a 90-day agreement. A 90-day agreement. I'm going to message those of you who I think I would really like to have you do this with me. And if you don't hear from me, maybe I'm coming for you, or maybe you've just been really quiet and you need to say, I need this too. Okay. If you need this too, we're going to make a plan, and it's not going to be this massive shift every area of our life plan, but a fall in love with creating the habit. I think so often we get really caught up in this idea of the results and what it needs to look like. But you guys, if instead of being so committed to the results, if those become a byproduct of you creating habits that serve you, and you fall in love with who you are becoming as you cultivate and create those habits, I think that it's a total game changer. And I think that a lot of us will stop quitting on ourselves and negotiating ourselves out of beginning or committing or staying on track. Okay, so it's going to be a 90-day agreement. You know how I feel about recommitting to things. So there will also be a 60-day and there will be a 30-day as we go along, because this is real life, okay? And there's no such thing as perfection. There's no such thing as you say, I need this, and that it's effortless and smooth. Like, you are going to fail, and you are going to mess up, and you are going to get in your own way, and you're going to chatter, and you're going to talk yourself out of it. That's just part of how this works. That being said, I don't want you to hear this and be like, oh, 90 days is too hard. I'm down for 60, or I could do 30. That's not what this is. We start at 90, and then we recommit and we realign and refocus every 30 days until the end of the freaking year. And she said something that really blew my mind, because she was talking about postpartum bodies. And I haven't had a postpartum body in a real long time, but we should approach this with the same mentality. You know, like, you just had a baby. Say you just had a baby, okay? You spent 10 months growing a freaking human. 10 months growing a human, and then get your body back, right? There's all this expectation and pressure around, okay, I have 6 to 8 weeks, or you give yourself like this window of when everything should be back to normal. And there's really no back to normal. I don't believe. Your body is just shifted whether or not, however you have a human, your body is different than it was before having a human. And so I think that we need to start giving ourselves grace, not coming up, not negotiating and saying, well, I'll take what I can get and some is better than none. Like, those are important things to tell ourselves, to give ourselves grace. But if giving yourself grace is your cop out and keeps you from actually getting the momentum, I think it's time to shift it. So instead of, it being this 30-day thing or 21 days or 60 days, like, what if instead of you being so focused on the results, if instead you fall in love with who you're becoming as you cultivate and create those habits? I just thought that just kind of blew my whole mind. I took a bunch of notes today. And so something else she said that resonated was how sometimes we're all freaking busy. We're all busy, okay? It's not a contest. We're not going to get on our list of all the things that are happening, but sometimes we choose something over something else. For example, you're here in this space, which means you at some point said, I want to work on my journey. I want to feel better in my skin. I want to fall in love with who I am right now, not who you're going to be at the end mark, at the end zone, right? But it's like, okay, I can either work on my body or I can be a good mom, or I have my job, or I can work on my fitness, or I can do my nutrition, or like we have all these, we keep these things on separate tracks when they don't need to be on separate tracks. You just need to make maybe smaller habits a thing, and then you allow those to compound, right? So instead of thinking that you have limited capacity and coming at it from a place of lack, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough energy, I don't have enough effort, I don't have enough mental capacity, I can't figure this out, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know where to begin. You know, those thoughts fill all of our heads at some point in our journeys. Instead of thinking of yourself in terms of limited capacity, what if instead you thought of yourself as unlimited potential? You have unlimited potential. There's no expiration date on this. There's no timeline. Like, I have 30 days. There's 90 days in the rest of the year, and I'm going to make it the very best. That's not what this is. This is about deciding to live in the now and to take total responsibility for what you want in life. That's what this is. This isn't like, we're going to get it done. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to get back on track. That's not what this is. This is you deciding that you're going to fall in love with the process and who you want to become step by step, day by day. Be her now. Show up as that version of yourself that you want to be, that you deserve to be, that you keep saying, someday I could be her. No, you already are her, and you prove that by showing up. You prove that by taking the action. So instead of saying, I have all this limited capacity, what about your unlimited potential? Stop putting a timeline on it. This isn't pregnancy. It's not, a lot of the programs have time in the title, like 21 Day Fix or 80 Day Obsession, but who says that it's over? Like, it's not over when it's over. It's just a page in your chapter. It's just chapters in your journey. It's just growth along the freaking way. If we reframe it, I think so many of you will get an entirely different experience, and you'll start to feel super proud around where you're at now, not when you hit those benchmarks, not when those byproducts become your reality. So what'd she say? The whole negative habits are just like being postpartum. It took you 10 months to get a human born, and so it's not going to be like a snap of your fingers and you're suddenly undone. And so the same thing goes for negative habits. You can't just undo them in 2 weeks or 21 days or 60 days. It takes time and consistent action and you building your belief. And if you say, well, I don't have 60 days or I don't have 2 years, why? Why don't you have that time? Why wouldn't you show up to work on yourself? Why wouldn't you invest that time and energy? We invest our time and energy in shows on Netflix, in books, in classes, in learning new hobbies, in keeping our houses clean or going to work. We invest all this time and we don't even question it. We don't even blink. And yet when it comes to our health and fitness journeys, there is this unrealistic expectation that A, it will be easy, and B, that it should be fast. And it is neither of those things, because if it was, the entire world will look totally different. Right? Right. So maybe we just reframe this whole thing. Are you in? A 90-day agreement with yourself. And then every 30 days we check back in and we realign and we refocus and we see, without judgment, without shame, without criticism, what has worked and what are we proud of? And we collect proof of that. We don't collect the proof of, well, this was too hard and this wasn't the right plan and I didn't like this and this is uncomfortable. No, we're not going to collect proof of that. We're going to collect proof of the fact that I chose to prioritize my journey every single day, even if it was 5 minutes. And so many of you are busy as shit and you have all these excuses. And so I get that you're busy, but is it important or is it not important? And maybe it's just not important right now, and that's okay. That is okay. You're not going to be kicked off the island. I'm not going to break up with you. This is your journey. I'm not here to drag you along or convince you of it. But I don't ever put people in my groups without them asking to be placed there. So you're here because you want something from this journey. Maybe you want to feel better in your skin. Maybe you want to be harder to kill. Maybe you just want to feel proud. Maybe you want to believe in yourself again. Well, then believe in yourself again and make a commitment and do the thing and get the forward momentum to build the belief, to build the momentum, right? I've been thinking about that all day. Like, you're pregnant for so long, and we know that rationally, that a couple weeks, you're not going to be back to who you were. Like, that's ridiculous. And yet so many of us look at our fitness journeys the same way. Something to think about. So I just thought about this today and decided that I'm going to do it. And it's really easy to negotiate with yourself, because I was like, oh my gosh, I think there's 96 days in the year now. So that means it actually works out perfect that a 90-day agreement would begin on a Monday, the first Monday, October 3rd. And you know what? XB, which is the new program, that rolls out the following day. And I was going to start a new program the following Monday. So it's perfect timing. It is perfect timing, no matter where you're at, no matter if you have rocked out 1,000,005 programs, or whether you haven't stopping, or you've just been completely stalled out. Maybe you ordered your kit and you haven't replied to any of my messages, and you haven't taken any action, and you're in this big should and shame spiral. There's no reason. There's no reason to feel that. There's no reason to beat yourself up. There's no reason to keep stalling yourself out, when all you have to do is say, you know what? I want this. And I'm going to do it. And it doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't need to look like anyone else's. And it can take me a little bit longer. And it's a 90-day agreement, but on day 91, it's not over. It's not like your life is ended. It's a journey. It's a chapter. It's growth. It's discovery. It's discomfort. There will be failure, and there will be days that you have low belief and you don't really feel like doing it. But you know what? That's when you lean in here. And that's when you text your coach and you say, you know what? I'm having a low belief day. And we link arms, and I'm not going to pep talk you and try to talk you into doing it, but I get it, and I'm with you. And that's why I show up here. That's why I show up here, because it's my accountability. It keeps me honest. It keeps me engaged in my own journey. And I think that that's just an important thing to know, that you're not always going to be in this high belief state where it's awesome and easy and you just want to show up. It's a choice. So a 90-day agreement, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to war game it in my head. If you want to do it with me, let me know. It's an agreement you're making with yourself. It's a promise you're making with yourself, not to be perfect, but to own every single day and touch your journey in some way possible. I share how I touch my journey every single day, and my journey doesn't need to look like your journey. I don't need you to be me. I don't want you to be a clone. I don't even need you to be doing the same workout or book or anything as me. But I come in here because I know what my life was like before. I remember who I was, and I don't like her. I don't like her. No, she was negative, and she was sad, and she was stuck, and she lived in this lack mindset, and everything was too hard, and must be nice for them, and I was always comparing, and I'm still comparing, if I'm really honest, but I'm a work in progress, and I'm committed. I'm a committed mofo. I am never, ever, 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 ever gonna quit. Ever, because I remember who I was, and I don't want to be her. I don't want to role model that for my kids. I don't want to be that person in my marriage or in my life. Know better, do better, right? So this is not about you figuring out every area of your life, but this is about you deciding you are done micro quitting, that you are done negotiating with yourself when it is easier, when I have more time, when I have more space in my living room. I hear that so much, and I get it. It's a legitimate obstacle, but it's an obstacle. It's not a roadblock unless you choose to make it that way. Go for a walk. Do squats where you're standing. There's things you can do with literally a bath mat of space. This is your journey. So stop micro quitting and coming up with all these reasons why you can't, because there's a lot of reasons why we all can't. And you're worthy of this. You're capable of it. You said you wanted some part of this. So prove to yourself that your word means something. And take the action. It won't be perfect, and I'm not asking you for perfection. I'm not asking you to do 75 hard. We've done that in this group before, and you know what? It doesn't sit right with me. I see people who do that, and they love it, and it changes their lives, but I just think that is a way of living I don't ever want to live. I don't ever want to be so tightly gripped onto things that show whether or not I'm winning or losing. That doesn't feel good. That's not in alignment with who I want to be. I don't want to have some crazy diet. I don't want to kill myself physically for 2 hours a day. I don't want to have this big ass to-do list that feels awesome if I do it, but shitty if I don't. I want to get momentum every single day. I want to choose to show up to my journey. Some days that looks totally different. Right now, truth talk, I am in week 6 of Lift More, and it is geeking me out. I loved it for the first like 5 weeks, and then we went on vacation, and I'm in a place of, it's Shark Week, and I'm tired, and I'm off track on my calendar, and it's psyching me out. And so many of you, it psychs you out. I get that. It's totally psyching me out. I'm like, shit, well, what do I do? What do I do? I can't get all my workouts in this week to be able to start week 7 on Monday, but God forbid that I go into next week and I'm still in week 6. Like, I get it. I understand it. Those of you who are so in your head and super anal about this, I totally understand. It's part of this imperfect journey that we're all on. So I'm trying to figure that out myself. Do I do another workout today? Do I do a couple bonuses? Like, it's just calm down. What does that sound? I'm like, is there a cat outside my window? Lord help us if there's a cat. Okay, so I'm going to brainstorm this, a 90-day agreement. It is not a challenge. It is not, I don't know, okay? It's just an agreement. It is a promise to yourself. It is like this thing you're entering into. I'm not going to say legally binding because it's not a legally binding thing, but I just feel like the word agreement, it hits me different, and I hope it hits you different too, okay? So I'm going to war game it in my head. I'm going to put together some stuff. Those of you who want to do it with me, awesome, cool. Doing a 90-day agreement, it's going to look different for all of us. So don't think that it's all or nothing. And here we go. I'm just looking for the first time to fail. Like, that's not what this is. Every single day you begin again, right? Yes, Liz, I love it too. So I believe in you all. And I know you can do this, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. And I really don't care what your journey has looked like up to now. If you have been like getting all the gold stars and rocking your freaking journey, that's amazing. Go you. But if you have been struggle busting or overwhelmed or in this place of when ... then I will blah, blah, blah. If that's where you're at, this is your gut check. This is your moment to be like, you know what? This is my life. Like, we're not messing around. This is your life. This is feeling good in your skin. This is feeling proud that you've made a promise and kept it. And I think that is something we don't talk about a lot, but that is what this is. You making a promise, right? You make a decision, you make a promise to yourself, and then you just take the daily action, even if it's imperfect, because I know the shame and the shoulding that comes when you feel like you haven't held your promise. And then it becomes this like defeating cycle because you start to look for the proof that you're not keeping your promises. And before you know it, you're all mean in your head. Like, look, see, there I went. I wasted money. I screwed up. I can't get started. There's always excuses. I'm so lame. I suck. Stop that. If that's where you're at, stop that. You need this. You need to do this what did I say it was? This agreement with yourself and just do the dang thing, right? Right. So I feel really good about it. I'm super excited about it. If you want to talk about it, make a plan. Let's figure it out. I'm going to message you, Liz, when I get off of here. And the rest of you, I believe in you. And I'm excited to do this with you, right? Imperfectly perfect. That's how we roll here. Okay? Okay.